What's going on, Pursuit fam? Coach Stefan here, and I'm with one of our clients, Matthew Williams. Uh, do you mind introducing yourself? Just tell people a little bit about like what you do for work, your age, just so they have a little bit of background of like who we're chatting with and who we're doing the interview with.
So I am a police officer in San Francisco. I work for the federal government. I work for the U.S. Park Police. So I work in and around the Golden Gate Bridge, and I work outside a lot. So I'm like out. We have a lot of trails out hiking and having places that hard places to get to and stuff like that. And that's why I kind of wanted to get. Not that I was in bad shape, but I wanted to
Yeah.
get in a little bit better shape because we do not that regular police officers don't do a lot of hiking and stuff like that, but we have a lot of areas that are, I guess, more remote than other places.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then so that's kind of what I do. I'm 33, so obviously, yeah, you need to take care of yourself a little. You're out of your 20s and stuff like that, so you need to
Yeah.
take your body a little bit more as you start to get older, especially if you want to stay in this career for a while. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And I know we were just chatting and you said one of the main reasons you joined was like, yes, to get in better shape for your job, 100%. But I mean, just like all of our first responders, they also have personal goals outside of just career performance too, right? What were some of the personal goals? You've been in the program 4 months because we're recording this at like towards the end of August of 2024. You joined mid-April. When you first came to Pursuit, like what were some goals that you were wanting to achieve?
I guess just to I knew about working out and how to stage workouts and what to do, but I guess I was kind of like all over the place. So I get a little more like I guess stability, have workouts that are a little more put together and
Mhm.
focus on different types of body groups and stuff like that. And that's kind of what's happened here. It's like I have more structure to like upper body, lower body, overall body, full body workouts, things like that. And it gives me more ideas of what to do for workouts. And I feel like I've kind of gotten back into that
Yeah.
rhythm, and
Are you still doing jujitsu too?
yeah, so I'm still doing jujitsu. Yeah, and I definitely feel better doing jujitsu, and then just did some mountaineering. So just climbed part of Mount Shasta, and I felt good doing that too. So there's just functional fitness things that
Yeah.
I can get outdoors and do. So yeah, I just
Yeah. Yeah.
feel
And I think one of the big things too, because like I come from a background of like I was a wrestler and did some MMA and jujitsu, and so did Coach Mike, and a lot of cops do, right? Like, I mean, whether you're doing it for a hobby or your career, it is. I know when we first chat a couple of months ago, you're like, hey, I want to also figure out how to be more functional, but I want to build some muscle in my upper body. Like you had some aesthetic goals. And then it's like, how do I fit it all in? Right? Like, how do I find something that works for my schedule, but also works on my cardio enough to where when I'm hiking, I'm not out of breath, but also gets me to be strong, explosive for jujitsu, but also gets me aesthetic. And I know it sounds like a lot of goals, but like I would be lying if I said I don't have the same things, dude. I want to be big, fast, strong, and look good. Like, right? We all kind of want that 360 approach. And that's what we do. Like our coin term is, oh, we're going to help you burn fat, build muscle, increase your performance. If you have a good program, you'll do great. Cause I know when you first came to us, like you said, it was more of like, it's not like you were new. A lot of people that join Pursuit aren't day one gym goers. Okay. They're already working out, but they're kind of winging it. They don't really have structure. And so having somebody come and program you and actually work with you and sit there and say, no, do this on this day like this. How has that experience been working with your coach directly one on one, having him create a custom program for the training and the nutrition over the last 4 months?
so yeah. I think that has worked out well, and I think it just holds you more accountable too. Not that my diet was bad or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it kind of holds you accountable. If you start to slip or whatever, you you actually have somebody to hold you accountable, and you kind of get back on track, and it kind of it does motivate you. And then I think the app works. I think it works well, especially for my schedule. It's pretty easy to follow, pretty
Yeah.
easy to get through. And then I think like Coach Ryan and I talked about, like it's pretty easy to substitute exercises if you don't have something, or figure out what other exercises to do. Because I know we don't all have the same equipment and access to all that stuff. I mean, we have a pretty good gym in our office,
Yeah.
but you know, and we have different stations that we have to end up going to. So there's different, one gym doesn't have the same as the other, so it's
Yeah.
pretty easy, like I said, to substitute and um, you know, get those exercises done. I feel like you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's where the customization comes in, right? And for those of you that are watching, like we do our best to tailor a program specifically to the client. So for you, Matt, right? Like, hey, how long do you want your workouts to be relatively, right? What days? What equipment do you have access to? We do try to customize it to you because you got to think like if we step outside the box, if I were to create my own workout routine as a coach, right? I'm going to do those things anyways. I'm going to say, oh, what day am I working? And what muscle groups and oh, am I working out in my garage gym where everything's super close so I can superset? Or do I go to a big commercial gym where that's going to be a lot harder? Like those things matter. And so just collaborating with your coach and having those conversations are important. So you're 4 months in, man. What have you noticed? Like what's changed from like physical attributes, strength, performance? What results do you have so far?
so I think like I said, we talked about that. It's just that, not that, like I said, not that I was in bad shape or whatever, but I just feel like I've added more muscle throughout my lower body, things like that, because I was kind of neglecting those areas and things like that. And I feel like it's just kind of, I've become more well rounded, uh,
Yeah.
you know, as we've gone on in the program. And then it's just, I feel, I feel like my, at least squatting and things like that, I feel like that's gotten better, and it's gotten a little easier, and I've gotten a little less like stiff. Like the muscles are less stiff when I go to squat and things like that. And I feel like everything's kind of, I guess, like looser in my lower body and hips and things like that, as I do these workouts,
Yeah.
going on in the program and things like that. So that's definitely good. And then I feel like the rest of my body's kind of caught up with my upper body.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was just focusing on upper body, and that things that, you know I guess that stuff can happen or whatever, just with our and yeah. So it's feel like it's a well rounded program or whatever. And then I also feel like, not only, because I feel like you fill out the surveys at the end of the week, so you're also asking about, like, did you do your workouts, plus did you do any other fitness outside of your workouts? And that's important too, because I've listened to like sports medicine and nutritionist people talk about that, and talk about how you should hit your workouts, but you should also try to get your steps in during the day, and
Yeah.
do other activity
Yeah.
during the day on top of your workouts too, which is, you should
Right.
just do your normal routine.
Right.
uh,
Yeah. So for those of you listening, what Matt's talking about is like every week we do our weekly check-ins, right? Where we're asking questions like, hey, how was your sleep? How was your stress? How accountable were you? What else did you do? Right. Because like with the app, you can track things. You could put in like general cardio, and then in the comments, you could put like 45 minutes of jujitsu. And we always tell the clients, like, the more we know, the better. Because here's the thing, if we program you 4 days a week straight training, but you also do jujitsu 4 days a week and we don't know, we need to know, because that's going to play into number one, your nutrition, how many calories you're getting in. Number two, your recovery, how much volume we're doing. And, if let's just say you came in and you're like, hey, I want a program to get better at jujitsu and hiking. Cool. Well, now I have to be able to tailor that towards your volume of training. So there's some coachy, sciencey stuff that's in the background of it. And so I'm glad that the weekly check-in has given you an opportunity to really communicate with your coach. How's that process been? Because I know we're the first online coach you've worked with. Is that correct?
yes, no, yeah, it's the first online coach. Yeah,
Big, go ahead.
yeah, no, I think it's been good when I've asked questions about uh how to put things in the app, or like workouts or things like that. He's been pretty responsive. He responds, uh, you know, responds pretty quickly. So I think that's good. They're there if you need them or whatever. But like I said, the app's been pretty straightforward, and I've been
Yeah.
pretty straightforward to follow.
Yeah.
Follow the app and keep things
Yep.
going. And
Yep.
yeah, and definitely like you talked about, you can definitely record all your activities and uh, record what you do, like versus walking your dog, which I'll use for cardio and stuff like that, and biking to work and things like that. So you can add all that stuff in there and add all your other um, activities in there as well. So I think that's definitely definitely good that you can track all that stuff as well, because yeah, it's important, because yeah, you don't just I think that's what people think, like they just think that they are just working out to work out, but like you're
Yeah.
working out so that you can do other things, and
Yeah.
so that you can have more mobility and functionality in your life.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older too, because like yeah, I've read studies and listen to nutritionists talk about that. Yeah, if even if you're just doing like moderate lifting as you get older and stuff like that, it's gonna keep your muscles from degrading and breaking down. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I noticed I'm the same age as you. So I noticed like in the past 4 or 5 years, I have like 17 years of lifting under my belt, like for my physical body. So, I mean, it's a lot of repetitions and sets, and my body's a little bit beat up, and I have some injuries, and so working on a well-rounded program that prioritizes like mobility, some flexibility, some cardio, like you said, well-rounded. And I actually have like an ad that I've been running for a long time, which is basically saying like, if you're a first responder, you can't train like a bodybuilder. And I say that because I tell people it's not that traditional compound isolated lifting is bad. It's not it. But like there needs to be more, right? And you do a really good job of outside of your training to like you said, biking and walking and jujitsu. And like that's awesome, dude. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are like, hey, I got my 4 workouts in, I'm done. But obviously that's going to make you feel better. That's going to make your cardio better, which will in turn actually make you recover quicker. And I'm not going to dive too much into science about it, but yeah, dude, I'm glad it's going well for you. It sounds like the communication, the customer service has been there. And honestly, it's kudos to you, man, because you've been putting in the work. I asked Coach Ryan, I'm like, how's Matt doing? He's like, dude, he's crushing it. He does everything he's supposed to. So good job on you. Um, it's not like you said, it's an easy to use app. In my opinion, it's not overcomplicated. Your coach is there. The program's designed around you. The communication's there. And I'm glad that it's working for you, man. I mean, I know you still got 8 more months at least with us, and you're on this journey. So, you're a third of the way through the program, and you've made a lot of progress. Your strength has gone up, mobility, flexibility, general physical conditioning has gone up, and it sounds like you've learned a little bit too, which is great. What would be any feedback that you would have for maybe another officer that was in the same boat as you, man? Like I know you probably watched some interviews before you jumped in. Like if somebody was maybe on the fence or a little bit skeptical about like working with an online coach or pursuit in general, like what would you say to that person?
Well, I guess I would say that, like you talked about, the responsiveness is there, so you don't really have to worry about, like, if you're having struggles or problems or things like that. It's easy for you to get access. I wouldn't really worry about that, because I know a lot of people worry about that, like, oh,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know can I can I do this, will they actually give me feedback, and then I think too that, like, if you're worried about, like, some of these lifts and stuff like that I haven't done before and stuff like that. And so it's just kind of like you can do trial and error on your own. And then, like, nobody's I think a lot of people they're afraid, like, oh, I got to start off at this really low weight, like, somebody's gonna make fun of me, but like nobody's gonna make fun of you or anything like
Yep.
that. You just kind of start where you are, and you can kind of do the stuff yourself. You're not, like, pressured um, to be doing like heavy weight or anything like that, and
Yep.
that's not the point of it either. Um, and like I said, it's just going to help you. Overall, especially with your job, I guess you're going to have more energy and more more focus. When you get out to do your job and you're on patrol
Yeah.
and getting out, and I think you'll enjoy it more, the more you can. get out and do all that stuff, especially if you're actually on uniform patrol, because we
Yeah.
carry around a lot of stuff. Like, I think most officers carry around, like, at least in my experience, it's like 30 to 40
Yeah.
pounds
Do you
worth
feel
of
like
gear.
it's gotten easier? Like I know you mentioned like, hey, I'm showing up to work with more energy. Do you feel like you're like doing this program and getting in better shape has made your job better or the experience better or made it easier?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, our department. I think a lot of departments. Our department lets us take, like, if we're not like slammed with calls, and then people will cover calls for us and stuff like that, and lets us take an hour uh, worth of physical training during
Yep.
the day
Yep.
to do that, and it's definitely made me like take advantage of that. It's like, okay, all
Yes.
right, I have to take a break. I kind of have to separate, from work and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
I think that's good. Like, it's good to. Uh, it's good to do that. Like, good to take that hour for yourself and just separate from work. And
Yeah.
I definitely feel better when I have that break and I go and get a workout
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And then go back to work.
Sure.
You feel refreshed and you feel like you're ready to go.
Yeah,
Too.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because we work with, all sorts of career fields. I hear a lot in law enforcement, like, hey, I have a workout place at my facility or my station, and they give me an hour of PT, or some people we work with in the military. But here's the thing, a lot of people, what they do is they're like either skip it or they like go and just kind of fiddle faddle during the hour. But it's way different when you have a program, right? Because what you can do is you look at it the day before, okay, what do I have tomorrow? And then a couple hours before the workout, you look at it again. Okay, what am I going to do today? And you kind of replay it in your head. So by the time you actually get to the workout, you open up the app and you're like, boom, I have 1 hour. Let's go execute, right? It's very like on pace. It's thought out. You know what you're doing. You're not wasting time. And like from what I hear from a lot of people, they're like, I look forward to it. Before, I was kind of like, what am I going to do today? And kind of Frankensteining a program. But now you just open it up and execute. And that's what we want too. We want you to be optimized with your time. I know you kind of train quite a bit, which is great with everything that you do, your outside physical activities. And it's like, okay, cool, Matt. If you're going to train, you have 1 hour. Let's go. You need to make it optimize. And like you said, having that communication with the coach, you're like, hey, my station doesn't have this, or I don't like this movement. It's collaboration. Anytime you create a program that is tailored to a specific individual, the only way to make it good is high level of communication, right? Quick responses from the coaches, checking in with you. Hey, how was this? Hey, try this Zercher style. You might be like, I hate it. This was miserable. Okay, we won't do that anymore. But like having that collaboration is super important. And it sounds like it's gone really well. And, again, good on you for putting in the effort, dude. I know you're a hard worker, and, Coach Ryan's had a great experience being able to coach you. So keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And thanks for
No,
jumping on.
yeah. I mean, and I'll definitely say too that, like, I guess at first I was a little bit skeptical. Like, we were kind of doing some of the same workouts, and then, because at first they want to, you guys want to get to make sure you do the basic movements and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff. And then once you get into it, like, yeah, you'll start, the exercises will start changing, and you'll start doing more challenging things, and just I guess, yeah, the exercises, it starts to change and evolve, and you can, it's things that'll definitely challenge you. So you're probably not going to get, like, most likely you're not going to get bored
Yeah.
with the program. Like, yeah, like I said, you have to get through the basic movements, but once you start doing that, then yeah,
Yeah.
and you'll do your basic lifts. I've noticed that there's always like a core lift
Yeah.
in there, but then yeah, you add in different things with, like, the bands and doing different
Yeah.
positions and
Yeah.
some different exercises that I haven't necessarily seen before, or haven't necessarily done. But I do think the videos are pretty much spot on. Like, you can follow.
Yeah.
If you're new to an exercise, like, you just watch the video and
Yeah.
you can kind
Yeah.
of figure it out.
It,
And I was surprised too about some of the exercises. Like, you watch the video and you're like, it looks like it's like some sort of super athletic movement or something like that, and you're like, oh, I can actually do this. Like,
yeah.
yeah, because before you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that or whatever. And then you try it, and you're like, okay, I can actually do that.
Yeah. Well, it's building the confidence, right? And that's why, you work with your coach and give feedback like, hey, I mean, I've had clients be like, I'm really nervous to try this. I'm like, you'll be fine. Just start with super lightweight. Let me know how it is. And I'm like, even if you want to record yourself, like show me, I'll break down your form. So, I mean, again, it's an effort on your part. Like you got to be willing to try it and do it and not be scared. But it's so much easier when you have somebody by your side. Like we do get a side of people that come to us that did like just apps with nobody in the background, like no coach or whatever, and they'd skip things or they wouldn't do it or they'd try to modify it on their own and randomly search on YouTube for other exercises. And it's like, dude, don't even go through that. Just be like, talk to your coach. We do this with other clients. This is, I mean, their full-time job. We're here to make sure it's a good experience. So, yeah, dude, keep up the good work. I appreciate you jumping on with me. It means a lot. You taking your time out of your day. And yeah, I'm hoping this helps you with performance, staying safe at work, right? Being fit for duty in life. And that's what we want to help you do, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, it's definitely definitely been a a good experience, and I'm sure, like I said, it'll it'll keep going.
Yep.
As we keep going here, and definitely, like I said, I'll kind of learn more things. But yeah, it's
Yep.
been overall been a good experience, and like I said, it's just you know, hopefully we can let other first responders and people like that know that it's like you talked about, like it is easy to actually. I think a lot of people think that, oh, they've got all this stuff going on throughout their workday and it's hard to take a break, but I think it's sometimes it's best to just disconnect and go do
100%.
your workout, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Um, than when you don't. Like thinking back, to when I wasn't necessarily doing it, or or you do get busy or something like that. And even doing it at the end of the day, like if you don't get to it, even doing it at the end of the day, you feel a lot better, even though sometimes you don't
100%.
want to. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, dude, that's a good message, right? Prioritize your workout. It's going to make you more mentally sharp. It's going to make you feel better. And, you've been a shining example for that. So, yeah, man, I don't want to take up too much more of your day. I do appreciate you jumping on though. And, we're always here if you need us. Okay.
okay, all right.
All right.